Ladies and gentlemen, today is March 14th, 2014, and this is the KNKL Show, episode 176. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today we are going to be jumping back into the Diablo 3 marketing art for the upcoming release of Reaper of Souls, and today is part 10, the final part of From Beginning to End, where I have described my entire process to you for how I go about creating a piece of marketing art such as this one right here. And if you'd like to see the finished picture for yourselves in high-res beauty, and you're watching on YouTube, just click the link down below and you can go to DeviantArt and see it for yourself. So we're going to go ahead and just pick up where we left off with the last episode with our time-lapse. So let's go ahead and get into that. Got about, I think it's like 20 minutes give or take of time-lapse. So we may be going off on tangents. We might be talking about things that are completely unrelated. I cannot make any guarantees, but this much I do know. You will see things happening right here, and you will see things happening right here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get into the monk man, the monk male. And I really liked working on this guy because, as I said in the last episode, I felt like I spent a lot of time working with the girl to make her look aggressive and still have that natural beauty to her face. And with the guy, I literally just slapped down some paint and it worked, right? It was like the lines were already there. I just did a little bit of overpainting, and I was almost just like, I was really kind of pissed off because I was like, I spent all the time like over here trying to get this person to look good, and then the guy in the back, I feel like guys are so much easier to paint than girls, like in so many ways. And I don't know, maybe I just got lucky, or maybe the line art just did all the work, but at any rate, the guy just came together perfectly, and I barely had to touch it. I barely had to touch it. And yeah, I like it when that stuff happens. It's also, but the thing that really bothers me, the thing that I constantly think about is like, maybe he just turned out better because I didn't try as hard. Maybe he just turned out good because I wasn't worried, because I was in a good state of mind. And speaking of that, I want to talk to you guys about being in a good state of mind, because it is absolutely imperative that you guys take breaks. I've said this many times. In fact, I went into detail on one of these parts, but I'm going to go ahead and rehash it and spit it out once again, because I think it's super important that you guys, as artists, learn a proper schedule of taking breaks, because if you don't, you very quickly start to feel very frustrated with whatever you're working on. I've felt that way. There's times where I was just going and I was like, I don't have time for the break. I just gotta go and I gotta figure this freaking face out. And guess what happened? I was absolutely ticked off, and nothing worked. Nothing worked with what I tried to do when I was in that stressed out state. But as soon as I took a break, I walked away, I went and made myself some dinner, some spaghetti in the kitchen, right? Had some dinner, played a little bit of video games on the good old Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country 2. And as soon as I did those types of things, I like to take half-an-hour breaks. I work for 26 minutes and then I rest for the remainder of the hour on a good day. If I'm able to do that, literally, like, I just had the best day of my life, because it's like a perfect mix of work and rest. And I feel like I'm working with such a, it's almost like I can just see it. I can see the piece for what it really is. It's almost like the feeling, or the metaphor of, you know, imagine you're in this big city, right? And the city is called Problemville. And your problems always seem so big when you're stuck inside of them. You're stuck in the city. But as soon as you take a walk out of the city, you go for a hike in the mountains, or you go camping, and then you're in the mountains and you look back on that city and just all of the surrounding landscape around it, and just how big the earth is compared to this tiny little city, right? It sort of puts things into perspective for you, and then you realize, wow, you know, maybe this problem is not as big as I thought it was. Maybe it's actually really easily solved. And then you just start to get these ideas. You start to get ideas for when you come back, and you're able to implement those thoughts, and they become solutions. And that's exactly what I came across. I came across these things as I was working on this. I took breaks, and all of my solutions always came to me whenever I was taking breaks. And if I didn't, I was going crazy. Literally, I had to chuck some pillows. I had to pick up some pillows and chuck them at my wall or whatever, right? Because many of you know that's how I like to solve my anger issues. I like to express myself. I like to express my anger. So I take a pillow, this pillow right here, and take this thing right there and I chuck it at the wall. And it feels really good. And it feels really good. I just do it over and over and over again. And it's really funny. It's really funny. I just like chucking a pillow into a pile of other pillows because it just makes a little when it hits them. Like no matter how hard you throw that pillow, it just makes a little, and it's really funny. I don't know. It gets me out of my blue mood, and I can't be mad for very long. But as soon as I express that, as soon as I express those feelings of frustration in a way that is obviously not going to injure or harm anybody else or any small animals in the house, not that we have any, but if we did, you know, you don't want to kick your chihuahua out the window or off the balcony. That would be bad. That would be bad. But instead, you figure out a good way to release your energy, and then you can come back. You come back with like this presence of mind. You're no longer being held down by the stress and this anger that you're keeping within you. And it just seems like things started to work out after that. And that's a whole other conversation in itself. But it is, again, we're talking about my process, and I'm not going to leave any stone unturned in this video. All right. So we're moving into a little bit of the overpainting. See, look at this. Look at this face. That just came together. I literally had to do literally nothing. I just put a little bit of overpainting on it, and it worked. It worked, and I was so pissed. I was so pissed because I was like, why couldn't the girl's face have been this easy? Why couldn't it have been this easy? So, but anyway, that's just the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Seems like when you're not trying or you don't care, it just seems like it works. And as soon as you try really hard or you're just trying to make it work, it almost inevitably never does. So, anyway. Yeah. So, one of the things that I really enjoyed doing here was this foot. I really enjoyed painting this foot because I am not that great at feet, and I had a really good reference. I was just literally looking at my feet. And I think what's really cool is when you draw like these little tendons. You draw these little tendons right here between the feet that kind of go up the top of your foot. If you put those in, it makes it look really, really cool. Kind of like a muscular foot. A tendon-y foot. And all that good stuff. And another thing that I realized while I was drawing like muscles and stuff, like I need to get better at drawing muscles because these look good here, but notice how like half of his whole arm is just like a hand, and you got a really like super foreshortened forearm and then a tiny little bit of the bicep and the shoulder. I barely had to draw any muscles. And then this arm is like conveniently, you know, placed back here, so all you can see is the hand and the forearm is covered by rope. You know, so I barely had to draw any muscles. And I didn't like intentionally do that, but I was like, that's convenient because I don't know a lot about muscles. I mean, I know generally a little bit about them, and I draw them on the goat man up here and over there. These freaking goat men are ripped, man. These freaking goat men, what are they eating? What's in their diet? Freaking eating hay? They got to be eating more than hay to get muscles like that. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's just the Diablo universe. All the monsters and all of the dudes, they're ripped. They are ripped. And we are okay with that. So, moving on to what's happening here. I'm going to begin doing a little bit of refinement on the materials. A little bit of refinement on the materials as well as the exposure. And this is another thing that I'm really trying to get good at. Is basically like how you know that this cloth is red down here and you know that the sash is red. And yet it's turning white, right? I'm painting it white, but it's red. Does that make sense? Because of the light is hitting it and it's becoming overexposed. It's becoming very much overexposed because of the light that is hitting it. So, yeah, all that good stuff. But yeah, I've just been kind of practicing that and getting good at it because I wanted this light that's coming from behind the monk girl to look like super vibrant and like blinding, right? Because it's basically, it's their blinding spell. That's what's happening to these demons. They're like covering their faces because they're freaking getting blinded. And I was really happy that I redrew this goat man over here because originally he didn't look like that. Originally he wasn't like reacting to the light. Before he was just like sitting there with his, like he just looked like he was just like posing. It looked really, really lame. And it looked really contrived, like as if it was just like a still model, just like kind of stuck there of like an angry goat man. And yeah, that did not work. This is a cool little trick that I do right here. I actually painted the light on the goat man, then I duplicated that layer and just like hue shifted it so that way it was kind of blue. And then I just kind of I did sort of like a masking effect on it, where I just left the blue in the areas where I knew he would be being lit by the spell that's coming off of the monk's kick, the monk's dragon kick, or whatever that thing is. And I would kick with my leg, but I can't lift it that high. Ugh, dragon kick! And all that good stuff. So, anyway. Oh, man. I'm going to have some good dinner tonight. I just went grocery shopping at the local supermarket. It's literally just like right down the street. The place where I live, everything is like, the internet might suck, but we got a good location. We got a really good location. Because I almost knocked the freaking mic off. And so, yeah, I just went and got some stuff to make some really good spaghetti and meatballs. Can't wait for that. In fact, I'm probably going to make that right after this is done. And then I'm going to get to work on the upcoming page of Amazon. In the meantime, I think we have about 10 minutes left on these time lapses, I think. Yes. Actually, no more than 10 minutes. We got a lot to do. So I'm just going to continue giving you the play-by-play. Talking about some goat men. That's my Deckard Cain impression, by the way. Every time I say goat men, now you know why I do that. So, I really like this guy. I actually drew, I don't know if I showed you guys this, but I actually took a picture of myself making a face like that. I was like, right? And then, like, people do this all the time, but I always find it, like, really fun and challenging to take a picture of yourself making an expression and then transposing it onto another character. Like, for instance, you know, this goat man. Obviously, I can't just draw my face on a goat body. Unless, I mean, somebody said that actually looked like me, like that face. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but alright, that's good. But the worst thing that you can do is take a picture of your face doing an expression, transpose it onto a girl character, and then have it look like it's just your face on a girl character. That's really scary. As well as, I don't know, like I've seen, like sometimes I see artists, they paint faces, and you can just tell. You can tell that they just took a picture of their face, and they just drew their face. And I don't know why that bothers me so much. And I don't know how I can really tell, or if I'm just being stupid and I'm just like making it up and they're, you know, completely, I don't know. Basically my point is that if you take a picture of your face, learn to understand what makes the expression rather than copying your face. Rather than copying the expression of your face and just transposing your face onto another person, just look at what's happening, like with the muscles in your face, right? Like for instance, with this girl here, oh, did I already? Yeah, I changed her mouth, right? I changed her mouth. I'm going to show you guys this really quick. I changed her mouth from what it originally was to being a little bit more gridded. And basically what I did was, I got this little handy-dandy mirror right here. And what I did was I just kind of like gritted my teeth. And I just paid attention. I was like, oh, I totally forgot to put like the skin. See how this pushes my cheeks up and it like makes my eyelids more visible? And it just like pushes all of the skin up towards my eyes and kind of squints them when I do that, right? And I totally forgot to do that on the original face. And I think that was kind of one of the things that was holding it back from looking believable. So once I went back in and I kind of did that, I kind of pushed the skin just up a little bit, and it really doesn't have to be that much. It really doesn't have to be super apparent. It just has to be really subtle, especially on girls' faces. With guys, you can do all kinds of stuff, but with girls, very, very subtle. And that really, really helped to sell the expression. As before, it was just kind of, I don't know, it looked kind of comic booky. It just wasn't really believable for me. It wasn't enough. There wasn't enough intensity in the face. Because, she's supposed to be freaking casting this giant blinding light spell. And before, it just looked like she was like, right? Just like, I don't know, meditating, standing there or something. It just looked kind of cheesy. And I'm a big fan of making, just like making expressions. Making expressions on your characters look believable. Making their hands look believable. The two most expressive parts of a character, I think, are the face, the hands, and then also, the body language, if you want to add a third one. But also, another thing is, just making sure that all the other characters are reacting to what your character is doing. It makes them feel so much more powerful. It makes them feel like they're actually existing within this 2D space. It makes you feel like it's an actual thing. It tricks your mind into thinking that it's more believable, as opposed to, oh, hey, okay, so this character is just like standing there looking heroic, right? They're just like doing something, and then there's this demon in the foreground just like, right? Just like looking off into the distance. He's not even like, there's this guy right behind him about to bash his head in. He's not even like looking back in fear. He's just like staring off into La La Land. So don't do that. Don't do that. If you're going to have multiple characters in your scene, it's really, really cool, and it's a fun challenge to have them reacting to one another. It's really, really fun. I really like that. It allows you to tell a story. I'm a big fan of stories within a piece. All right. So as we start kind of rounding this off and just kind of doing the final polish things, as you can watch over here, I'm just going to talk about everything that just kind of went through my mind from beginning to end with this. And something, I just kind of want to summarize everything that I've gone through with this time lapse. And that is, in the very beginning of this, in the very, very beginning of this piece, it all started with me just writing down my ideas. I wrote down all of my ideas in this book, right? And just a notebook. You can literally just get any piece of paper and just grab a pen and start writing down ideas. Like, oh, hey, that would be cool if there was this monk guy and monk chick, right? They're like backing each other up. They're fighting these demons. Like they're fighting Goatman on one side and then these little demon minions on the other. And then Malthael's in the back with, you know, his sides in the air. And it looks really cool. But that wasn't my first idea. That was not my first idea at all. My first idea is, in fact, one of my goals was to just get 20 ideas. It didn't matter what they were, or even if they were good or not. It didn't matter if they were good or not. I just wanted to get them done. So I came up with 20 ideas, and then I picked the few that I liked. And then I went on and I started doing thumbnails. Right, before we get into thumbnails, the other really important thing to do, speaking of writing things down, is write down your goals. Like if you're making a big, if you're making a huge piece of art, right, and you want it to like convey something, or you want it to, if you want it to be good, okay, let's just get down to it. If you want it to be good, then make sure that you have like keywords established. And what is the purpose of this? What is the purpose of this drawing? Is it to look sexy? Is it to convey a message? Is it to make people laugh? Is it to tell a story? You know? And then what I did was I wrote down the keywords that are going to describe this picture once it's done. And those keywords were composition. I don't know how to get this thing turned off. iPhone. New iPhone. Sorry. New iPhone. I don't know how to work it yet. Anyway, okay, so the keywords for this were composition, control of color and focal points, unique ideas, and a clever story. Okay, so those are my keywords, and I kept reviewing these. Like every day that I could, like when I woke up, I was like, oh, I should look at those keywords. I should look at those keywords. And basically every day that I sat down to work on this, I would review these. And I'd look at, okay, composition, yes, composition is good. Control of color, focal points, yes, I'm working on that. Unique ideas and a clever story, yes, I'm liking that. And I felt like everything was present in this picture. And because of that, because I set down that purpose, because I set down that foundation and built my house on top of it with the proper plans and the proper blueprints, wasn't taken away from my house and to the loony bin for that long. Because I did that, the piece was a success. A success, a grand success. And so, yeah, I just want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of doing that. And I feel like it's getting darker. It's getting darker. Let me open it up. Open up these blinds, get a little more light in here. Light my face. Whoa, that's too much light. There we go. The sun is setting upon the beautiful Utah landscape. And yeah, this has been a really, really fun piece. I think it challenged me in a lot of ways. Oh, that thing that I'm doing right there when I'm turning it black and white, basically I just create a layer over top of everything, fill it with black, and then set the, right here where my mouse is, you click that, and then you set the layer property to color. And then it automatically like flattens everything to black and white, and that's a good way for you to check your values, which is basically just the composition of your picture if it were black and white. And you can check the clarity of it, and that's another really important thing to do. You want to make sure that your values and your clarity is, you can see what's happening. There's no more of this, oh, I think that's a person. Oh, that's two people, right? Sometimes there's these paintings and pictures where people don't, they don't fix their values, so it's really hard to tell what's going on, especially in like really complicated, like fight scenes like this. You have to make sure that it's almost like a puzzle that you have to figure out. Because if you notice here, it's like there's a dark shape on top of a light shape, right? The silhouette of this monk girl, and then you have these characters behind her, right? And they're all like light value-wise. So that helps to separate her from them. And then you also have just a little bit of light around her fingers there that separates her from the monk male in the background. So there's all these things that I'm trying to keep in mind, like for silhouetting and values and all that stuff. But anyway, back to what we were talking about. What was I talking about? So much talking today. I actually wasn't planning on this much. Like, when I finished this, I was like, the time lapse is probably going to be like, I don't know, maybe altogether like 20 minutes. And then I looked at all of them. I was like, holy crap, there's like almost 40 minutes of time lapse on this thing. I don't know if I can do that all in one take. I don't know if I can do that all in one video. So I just decided to do it in two. So anyway, can I make this bigger? Oh, I can. Should have done that at the beginning. Shoot! Oh well, whatever. Actually, I don't think it mattered that much. It's actually cutting off a little bit of this on the edge. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, let's do it like that. Why not? Why not? And my computer's been like having this weird issue. I don't know if it's probably just because of the hard drive, but my Photoshop has just been like lagging up and like freezing. So I have to like Control-Alt-Delete to get it to like work, especially every time I like pull up the interface. And it's a little bit embarrassing. Luckily, you can't see the Control-Alt-Delete menu every time I have to do it. Every time the screen flickers, that's basically what it's doing. And yeah, it looks like we are going to be moving into the final act. The final act right now. Or that was it? That was it! That was it! Alrighty, people. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and go through a little bit of the detail here. Yeah. And like I said before, you can go to DeviantArt and you can look at this for yourself by clicking the link down below if you're watching this on YouTube. But yeah, let's just take a look at this. And I want you guys to really look at the close-up details of what I'm talking about here. Like you can see the spatter brush right here, like for the freckles and a little bit of like the transitions in the skin. It's actually a little bit of like messiness going on there. I probably could have cleaned that up a little bit. But all in all, a lot of my texture just comes from using the chalk brush. And again, you can download all my brushes for free on DeviantArt as well, and that link is down below. But as far as what I liked most about this piece is probably this guy's face. I really liked his face just because of how easily it came together and it just looked freaking good without me having to touch anything. Jeez. Stop calling me. Nobody calls me. Nobody calls me until I start doing the show. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. But anyway, so you got your Goatman getting kicked into oblivion. You got Malthael up there. And just once more, let me show you guys. This is the value layer. See how it's all black? And it's set to color right there. Okay, so when you click it on, now it allows you to see the values. The values of everything. And yeah, I really like it. And basically what this does is it allows you to ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question. And once again, I will move myself down so you can look right up here. This is a very valuable tool for values. You want to look at this. Because this is called the navigator, and it shrinks your entire picture down to a tiny little thumbnail. And then if your picture is clear here, if your picture is clear in this little box right here, that means you have a good picture because your values are in place and you can clearly see still what's happening. And your eyes are still being led to the proper places of where you want to look. So yeah, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And you can go ahead and take that off to see your beautiful colors once again. And yeah, that's basically it. That is basically it. I think that is going to finish off part 10 of From Beginning to End. The entire series is done. We've finally done the thing that you guys have asked so long for, to see a piece of marketing art or just like a high detail picture done by me from beginning to end and displaying my whole process. So I hope this has been educational for you. I hope you guys learned some good things about it. I want to see the things that you've learned from this. Please submit those things to the Facebook because we are going to be resuming our normal scheduled broadcasting thing. So I'm going to be doing the Whatever Wednesdays. I'm going to be picking your characters and drawing them on Wednesdays. And yeah, probably Thoughtful Thursdays and all that good stuff. Just jumping back into the way things were after this. And it feels good. It really feels good to have that done. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on YouTube. Please thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. My name is Ken Lafferty. You guys take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Till then, take care.